Herculaneum was a prosperous city of ancient Rome, flourishing in a golden age of civilization, until 79 AD, when the eruption of Mount Vesuvius obliterated it in an instant, burying it in ash. That day, Herculaneum vanished from history. Nearly 2,000 years later, in the 18th century, the ruins of Herculaneum were rediscovered by chance, and in one of its ancient villas, a remarkable discovery was made. More than 1,800 ancient papyrus scrolls were uncovered. At the time, the scrolls were sealed away to prevent damage. But only recently, with advanced 3D scanning and AI technology, scholars have been able to read their texts without unrolling them. It's said they contained highly secretive writings. So, what exactly was hidden within those papyri? In ancient Rome, which had cultivated a magnificent civilization, Pompeii was among its most thriving cities. But in 79 AD, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius turned it all to ash in a matter of moments. For Pompeii, it was the final day. Yet there's a lesser-known fact. Pompeii was not the only city wiped out by the eruption. Mount Vesuvius lies in southern Italy, on the Bay of Naples. Even today, the Bay of Naples is lined with resort towns, and so it was in ancient times. The closest of them all to the volcano was Herculaneum. The force of the eruption, said to be comparable to the Hiroshima atomic bomb, is estimated to have reached Herculaneum in less than 4 minutes. That day, Herculaneum vanished from history alongside Pompeii. Nearly 2,000 years later, in the early 18th century, the forgotten city of Herculaneum was uncovered when a farmer dug a well. The excavations brought one astonishing discovery after another, but none were more remarkable than the massive collection of papyrus scrolls found in a grand villa, over 1,800 of them. This was a find of extraordinary historical value. In the ancient world, books of any kind were incredibly expensive. Amassing a library was nearly impossible unless you were immensely wealthy or backed by a state. Moreover, papyrus was made from plant stems, which made it highly fragile. For this reason, most ancient texts were lost as the world entered the Middle Ages. Ironically, the Herculaneum scrolls survived precisely because the city was buried under volcanic ash in an instant. However, unrolling papyrus that had been charred like firewood by the intense heat was no easy task. Scholars tried every method they could think of to open the scrolls, but none could prevent them from crumbling to pieces. In the end, they sealed the remaining scrolls away, trusting that one day, in the distant future, technology would advance enough to reveal their contents. Time passed, and in 2015, a team led by Professor Brent Seals at the University of Kentucky developed a CT-based 3D scanning technique that could read the ink inside scrolls without unrolling them. Using this method, they successfully read a scroll discovered near the Dead Sea in Israel, revealing that it contained verses from the Bible. However, in the case of the Herculaneum papyri, the ink was carbon-based, making it indistinguishable from the charred papyrus itself, and therefore impossible to read clearly. After much trial and error, in 2019, Seals and his team came up with another solution: to look for the microscopic changes that must have occurred when the ink was first applied to the papyrus. They used the particle accelerator at the United Kingdom's Diamond Light Source to scan the scrolls in ultra-high-resolution 3D, allowing them to detect the hidden text. However, extracting text from the scanned data required significant time and expense, and even then, deciphering it was no easy task. After years with little progress, Professor Seals made a bold decision: let's bring in the world. In 2023, his team released the scanned papyrus data and their code as open source. They launched the Vesuvius Challenge, offering prizes for the best results from those who could detect text or decipher its contents. Backed by Silicon Valley tech companies, the competition carried a total prize pool of $1 million. 6 months after the challenge began, in October 2023, the first team to successfully read the papyrus emerged, led by Luke Ferrator. He deciphered the ancient Greek word porphyros, meaning purple. In antiquity, purple was a symbol of wealth and power, worn by kings and emperors. As the saying goes, the first step is always the hardest. Ferrator released his code publicly, and the pace of deciphering the papyri began to accelerate. What emerged was more private and substantial than many had expected. Among them were writings from the Epicurean school of philosophy, often linked to the idea of hedonism. Hedonism is the philosophical view that pleasure is the highest good and the ultimate aim of life. While it's often mistaken for the pursuit of physical indulgence, the Epicurean form sought a deeper, more lasting happiness, found in peace of mind, freedom from pain, and the simple pleasures of life. Put simply, it was about pondering how we should live in order to truly enjoy life. It's no surprise, considering the scrolls were found in what is believed to have been the villa of Lucius Calpurnius Piso, a Roman statesman and general, father-in-law to Julius Caesar, and a patron of the Epicurean school. school. As a side note, Epicurean hedonism often clashed with the values of early Christianity, which emphasized restraint and faith in God, leading many to condemn it as heresy. The Vesuvius challenge continues to this day. In this way, science and technology illuminate not only our future, but even our distant past. Astronomer Carl Sagan once wrote in his book Cosmos, "Books are like seeds. They can lie dormant for centuries and then flower in the most unpromising soil." Around 1,000 more papyri are expected to be deciphered in the coming years. Soon, we may witness flowers blooming from the seeds of Rome's glorious past, long dormant for 2,000 years.